as far as putting them in everything, sports, soccer, whatever. She did that. Vegetarian, she took the meat away from her. You know, like you just gave him that juice, you would have asked her first. Couldn't have a juice. Candy in my house. This is the only place she ever did candy because you know you don't get it a lot. So it was sugar-free stuff at her. But that's the type of mother she was. She was a good mother, and she loved her children. 11 and truthful and with a long shouldn't be keep it real with that shit.
911, what's the emergency, please?
I was one of the last people she was with. She had a conversation with us before she let us get out the car. She told us to look after our grandmama, our sisters, and our family. And she looking at us in the rearview mirror crying. She's saying this with her eyes red. Everything about that day was weird. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that in class. Like, I was young, but I wasn't that stupid to know what was going on with my mom.
So this month marks 21 years that an Atlanta mother has been missing. Her family is still desperate for answers from police, who they claim gave up on the case.
I look back at during the time that my daughter came up missing. When it was a month later or 2 weeks later, that the two white ladies came up missing, they just exploded about them, but they didn't explode about my child.
Dymasha Cullen's mom says she was last seen driving a red Jeep in this neighborhood in southwest Atlanta, but that night, she never returned home to her husband and kids.
She was my daughter, and she was a mother. She was an aunt, a sister, but nobody, whoever did this, did not care.
Cullens, who was 32 at the time, is a mother of 5 and worked in real estate. The day she disappeared, she was supposed to be going to do some work when she was last seen around Malin Avenue in southwest Atlanta. But when Cullens didn't return home, her family called police. Cullens' Jeep was later found at an apartment complex near Memorial Drive in Decatur. Her mom says there were many questions investigators never dug into in the case.
You know who stayed there? Nobody to our knowledge or to the detective's knowledge. Somebody that lived there found her license and mailed her license to the house. The last time I spoke to her, it was his birthday is coming up, and I called her and asked her what was she gonna do for his birthday, and she said she didn't know that she's waiting to see what he wanted to do. She said, but I'll tell you, Mom, when I find out what he wanted.
Is that why you said when she didn't show up for your birthday, you knew?
Yeah. My grandmama and everybody else didn't have to tell me. I got a old tie with my own mother, you feel what I'm saying? I knew what was going on. I just played a part until my birthday came because I always believed she was going to come that day. And she didn't come, so I was like, okay, this was going on.
And Atlanta police say the case is so old, they weren't able to find the report for it.
In the last detective that I had, Detective Floyd. He asked me not to keep calling you. If we hear something, we'll call you. And I said, I'm going to call you whether you answer or not. I'm going to call you. And a lot of times I call, he didn't answer. I know they did not do enough to me, they didn't.
Corbett says certain people weren't questioned, and there was allegedly blood found in her daughter's vehicle. But every clue Corbett found suspicious, she says police brushed off. But 21 years later, Corbett hasn't given up on finding her daughter and getting answers on what happened. Dymasha Cullen's mom says she was last seen driving a red Jeep in this neighborhood in southwest Atlanta, but that night, she never returned home to her husband and kids. Cullens, who was 32 at the time, is a mother of 5 and worked in real estate. The day she disappeared, she was supposed to be going to do some work when she was last seen around Malin Avenue in southwest Atlanta. But when Cullens didn't return home, her family called police. Cullen's Jeep was later found at an apartment complex near Memorial Drive in Decatur. Her mom says there were many questions investigators never dug into in the case, claiming that it wasn't taken seriously, and it seemed to Corbett her daughter wasn't a priority.
Let's try to get this light to a way where it doesn't bother her eyes. You might can dim it a little bit and see how it look on the camera. It's not really showing on this camera.
She was brought up in a nice home. She was brought up in church. She was brought up not to talk, to respect her elders, and to be the best that she. Her name, Salvation, Soledad Bashar Cut. Where did you 101 Dalmatians? I just spelled it different because I didn't want to be spelled like the dogs, but I never thought no one else would name their child after a dog, but I was small. Serious, nice, kind, and caring person.
Dee Dee was born on June 12, 1971, and from a young age she exhibited remarkable intelligence and creativity. She excelled in school where her academic skills were evident, but she wasn't just a scholar. Often described as the jack of all trades, Dee Dee's versatility and capability were admired by those around her. She also had a keen interest in fashion and cherished the moments she spent with her mother, Viola.
She was standing at the sewing machine one day, and she told me, "Oh, well, I could do that too." She couldn't because I had never let her touch the sewing machine, but in her head, she said she was very into fashion. Her hobbies back then were, believe it or not, she was trying to make wigs. She dealt out with jewelry, and she used to sit up and draw. Yeah, she drew up till how I was thinking about stopping and look just fashion-wise, and she gets it out. So it was wild.
Dee Dee's professional journey led her to become a real estate loan officer in Atlanta. Her career was marked by dedication and a strong work ethic.
My daughter was a very go-getter person. She didn't stop at trying to do anything. She thought she could do everything. I remember her telling her kids, anything you want to do, you can do it. Just put your mind to it. Anything you want to have, you can have. Just put your mind to it. And that's the type of person that she was, by doing everything that she did. She didn't stop at one thing. It wasn't just real estate, you know. At one time, she thought that she could teach some church. And I'm like, sit with the friend.
Despite the demands of her job, Dee Dee was a devoted mother to her 5 children, whom she raised with loving care. She always ensured her children were active and enriched their lives with memorable vacations, including trips to Jamaica. Although her relationship with the fathers of her children did not work out, Dee Dee remained a pillar of strength and support for her family up until her disappearance.
Living in truthful and with a mom should be keep it real that she. She was the type of person that, as a mom, was a good mom and wanted everything for her kids that I could not give her, even though she not gave her the best. This one went to Jamaica for 6 months because she wanted them to marry public coach. And then she turned around and said, "It's all this not here." Only was that going to happen if this had not happened, because she said she wanted them to go back. She said, "I want my kids to learn everything else. And I want to go and see how other people live." So two of them lived, but he went where he was a baby. So, as far as putting them in everything, sports, soccer, whatever, she did. Vegetarian, she took the meat away from him. Like you just gave him the juice, you would have asked her first. Couldn't he have a juice? Candy at my house. This is the only place y'all would get candy because you wouldn't come get it a lot because it was sugar-free stuff at her. But that's the type of mother she was. She was a good mother, and she loved her children, and she loved handling children. When she came, I was the most proud, happiest grandmother in the world. Still is, So, and when she said, that's a great grandbaby, that's all. And when she said how many she was going to have, I told her, have as many as you want to have. You're going to take care of them. She gave me 5 great kids.
Dee Dee isn't just a loving mother, but also a loving friend to many. Her warm personality and genuine care for others made her beloved by many. She had numerous friends in the music industry and was often seen as the it girl of her time. Dee Dee's ability to connect with people from all walks of life earned her respect and admiration.
To be honest, my sister was, 32 when she came up missing? I'm 35 now, so I was roughly in 03, I was like 13. What I can remember, I know my sister was lit. I know she was very beautiful. And I know she was kind of in the mix. You see what I'm saying? Like, when I went to her house, it's portraits of her in the Brat, different entertainers. Like you asked about Sean Diddy Combs. He went to the all-black party. I think that's that all-black party when Kanye was in that interview and everybody dropped his motherfucker with that Hennessy bottle. It had to be, 99? So, it was Jermaine Dupri's birthday. So, I know her and the Brat was kind of close. I seen pictures of them in her house, so. Like I know she did real estate. Every time I went to her house, it probably was a different house. Nicer. Plush on the inside. And if I was going over there, maybe she was going out, so. I remember she took me to the Dorf house. So she turned me on to the Dorf house. Young nigga, for sure. She was in I want to say a champagne Q45 Infinity. Kicking it, Her house was nice, like I said, She was going up. I know she had on some thigh-high white boots. I never forget it. She was dripping back then, though. I didn't know what dripping was back then, but I know she looked real nice, so that's all I can remember.
However, on August 28, 2003, Dee Dee's life took a mysterious turn when she went missing at the age of 32. Around that time, 2 significant events were unfolding in her life. She was preparing for her son Kobe's birthday and navigating a complex relationship with her estranged husband. Dee Dee married the twins' father in 1999, but the couple later separated. According to an Essence article from the time, Dee Dee's mother said that in early 2003, the twins' father wanted to reconcile with Dee Dee. Though Dee Dee talked with her mother about filing for divorce in July 2003, she still let him move into her home in August. That was the same month Dee Dee disappeared.
The last time I spoke to her, it was his birthday just coming up. I called her and asked her what was she going to do for his birthday. And she said she didn't know that she would wait to see what he wants to do. She said, should I tell you, Mom, when I find out what he wants? And that was like 2 days before she came real busy. I got the call that Friday, so that was that Wednesday when she told me that when I talked to her. And she said, you're real happy, excited about his birthday coming up. She said, whatever you go through, I don't care. I'll let you know what you want to do. So that was the last time I talked to my dad about his birthday.
On the day she disappeared, Dee Dee left her residence in a 1994 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the Georgia license plate number 11HE9. According to reports, during the early parts of the day, Dee Dee dropped off her children, ran a few errands, and did an appraisal on a home.
She went out to look at a house, and one of the girls that appraised, she went out to appraise some houses that day, and one of the girls went out to appraise the house, so we met her there. I know that the day before that, she went and had her nails and hair done because I found the receipts in the truck. So I know that she did get that done. But that's pissed on average.
I was one of the last people she was with that I believe, because me and my brother Chris got dropped off at school that morning, and she had a conversation with us before she let us get out the car. And she told us that we was brothers and we gonna always be there for each other. She told us to look after our grandmama, our sisters, and our family. She said to make sure. And she looking at us in the rearview mirror crying. She's saying this with her eyes red. And this is something that always been in my head, that always mess with me. This is why I do the music. This is why I try to do what I'm doing. Anything I'm doing, I do it in her name. And before we got out the car, you know, she just let us know she loved us. She didn't want nothing to happen to us. And then we went to school that day. That whole day went by. About 3 o'clock, we got out of school. We got picked up from school around about 5 or 6 o'clock from the ex-husband at the time. He ended up coming, but that was just all weird. Everything about that day was weird. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that in class. Like, I was young, but I wasn't that stupid to know what was going on with my mom. You feel what I'm saying? So that's probably like the worst memory I got with her.
Is that why you said when she didn't show me your birthday, you knew?
Yeah. My grandmama and everybody else didn't have to tell me. I got a soul tie with my own mother. You feel what I'm saying? I knew what was going on. I just played a part until my birthday came, because I always believed she was going to come that day. And she didn't come, so I was like, okay, this was going on.
According to the police report, later that evening, Dee Dee spent another several hours with her male friend, Flip, showing homes and having dinner. At 7 p.m., Dee Dee spoke with her mother, Viola, on the phone. Viola noted that Dee Dee was laughing and happy during that call. But after Viola got off the phone with her daughter, that's when the details in this case get fuzzy. That night, Dee Dee stayed at her friend's house almost up until midnight. At the time, her ex-husband told officers he talked to his wife at 11:32 p.m. He said she told him she would be home shortly after dropping off a friend. The report added Dee Dee was last seen by her male friend at 11:52 p.m. near the 600 block of Mayland Avenue in Atlanta. She wasn't seen or heard from again after that night.
I was at work. I was working for Fort Gillin at the time when her husband, then, because he's divorced now, called me around 10 o'clock to tell me that she did not come home that night. And I said, well, what you mean she didn't come home? He said, well, she went out yesterday doing real estate work and she didn't come home last night. And that was about 10 o'clock. And I said, well, okay, give me a minute and I'll call you back. And so I called him back around 11 o'clock. I called her phone. I didn't get an answer. And I told him, I said, you still haven't heard from anything from her? And he said, no. I said, well, I'm on my way over there. So I told my manager I needed to leave work. And I called my family, which was my husband, my sons, my sisters. I called everybody and told them that I'm on my way to her house because her husband said that she did not make it home. And when I got there, I called the police department and they sent the police out. And he wrote out a statement who then took me to a friend of hers house named, we called him Flip. But he took me around to his house because I was told that she was with him that day to look at some houses also. So he said that she left his house. I don't forget what time he said she left his house. It may be in the police report. But he had not seen her since then. So we went back to my daughter's house and
Then the police interviewed the husband at that time. And that was it for that day.
On September 15, 2003, Viola received her daughter's ID in the mail and quickly informed the detective. The detective contacted the man who sent the ID, which led them to the missing Jeep at an apartment complex in Decatur, Georgia. The abandoned Jeep was discovered at the Oak Tree Apartments near the 3500 block of Clubhouse Drive East. Over the past 2 decades, the complex has undergone numerous changes and is now known as the Avondale Village. Viola said the man found the ID next to the car and mailed it to the address. Officers interviewed the man further and cleared him of any involvement with Dee Dee's disappearance. But inside the car, Viola said police found a blanket with blood on it, Dee Dee's purse, and red dirt on the car's driver's side.
Do you want to stay there? Nobody to the outlet knowledge or to the detective's knowledge. Somebody that lived there found her license and mailed her license to the house. And I got the license and gave it to the detective because the gentleman put his form and address on there. So they went there to where the apartment was and found the truck, and she was not in the truck. How the guy found her license outside the truck, I don't know. And maybe that's the way somebody planned it. They took her, I don't know. I just know that the license is found on the ground. The guy said, told the detective that he found the license on the ground. They thought he would have on the terrorist. He didn't have no idea that there was a truck there that belonged to her. I felt like they didn't do a lot of what they could have done. I felt like they closed the case early. I know one person, I gave names of very close people to her that she worked with every day. And one person told me that they didn't call him in and ask them for no interview. And he should have been one of the number one people that they called to ask. It was his truck that she was driving because he was letting her use his truck because she didn't have one because hers had got wrecked. So he let her use his. And they never called him. He said they never called him and to question him. I didn't give up on the case. Even years after, we would still go out and pass out flyers, which we will be doing this Saturday also. Well, not this Saturday, the 31st of this month. We will be on the corner of Cleveland Avenue and Hateville Road passing out flyers. We did them over there before. We did them over in the area where she lived at. We did them up on Metropolitan in the area where she came up missing from. And we had a candlelight visual at the park over on Cleveland Avenue. So we try to do something every year to let people know that she's still missing because somebody knows something. Somebody knows something, somebody's seen something. And it's just a matter of them not being afraid to come up and say, I heard this person say this, or I saw this person do this.
Were there any significant changes going on around that time in her life?
None that I've seen.
And she didn't mention any concerns or fears of anything?
Not to me. If she did, if she had some, I didn't know about. And if she did, she didn't mention it to me. All I saw out of her was the last few weeks of me seeing my child was being happy, her being joyful, and laughing like we always are in us.
Okay. And as far as reports mentioning about her being in a relationship and then, she was separated, did they speak to anybody as it relates to her relationships?
They spoke to quite a few people. The detectives did. They spoke to her ex-husband. They spoke to her another guy that she used to date. Ross and I think they spoke to Ross. I can't remember, I think.
socialize.
Did they get any information out of that? They don't tell you that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that they don't tell me because it's not a closed case. It's cold, but it's not closed. And anytime anybody come to them with anything, they open it back up. But they will only tell me so much because they feel like, okay, we're gonna ask you not to tell nobody, but then you feel like, okay, but you'll tell your husband. And your husband will feel like you could tell this person, or you tell your son, and you feel like you could tell this person, even though you said not to. So that's why a lot of stuff they didn't tell me. I know that they did ask me, and it wasn't Detective Hahn that asked me. It was Detective Vackless that was my sub-detective. He asked me, who did my daughter know? And I told him, I don't know because my daughter was a lot of shit because of the type of work she did. So who she was, I don't know because he said her phone was on a signal at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I told him, and I told him I don't know. And did her phone pinged anywhere else? No, just there. A gentleman that lived across the street from her. I do know that they spoke to him. Whether or not they spoke to some more of her neighbors, I don't know, but I know that they did speak to that gentleman. No, I don't know whether or not they spoke to any co-workers. Because a lot of stuff, they just didn't open up to me about what they were doing or what they did. If I didn't ask questions, I didn't get answers, so I can ask questions, and I still didn't get answers because they said, well, we just can't tell you right now because it could blow out with cannons. So a lot of stuff I did not.
Where could she have gone? Who might be involved? Viola felt the police dismissed her concerns over the years, leaving many aspects of this case unresolved. The police eventually told her to stop calling them and to stop watching the first 48. Viola said police never said anything further about the bloodstain. So many unanswered questions remain, but the family continues to hope and wish for answers.
I honestly feel like it got something to do with it. And one time we was eating. My mama had a friend over, but at this time they had just got divorced. So my mama had a friend over, and we was eating. I remember we was eating like broccoli, and she had like the white broccoli and cauliflower, and came to the door. And when he came to the garage door, he kind of forced his way in, and my mama ran to the door real quick and pushed him back out and like trying to force him back out the door, out the garage door. You feel me? So ever since that day, I started remembering stuff. Like I just started to pay more attention to her and what she had going on. Because at first it was just, oh, we going to Jamaica, or we finna do this, and we finna live like we was just living on the high rise, high living, But ever since that day, I started to look at stuff different. And then the day when he picked me up from school, and he never picked us up from school, like everything was just weird. And then her dropping us off, letting us know like she wasn't saying she was leaving, but she was giving her goodbyes type. Like, she was really like crying when she was talking to us. Like, why is you crying if I'm going to school? I felt like she loved her kids. She didn't want to leave us, but whatever she had going on with him, I feel like she had to do what she had to do. If she did just leave, now I'm not saying she just left us because that'll be abandonment, but I feel like she knew something was wrong too. And maybe she didn't want to tell Granny, or maybe she didn't want to tell us, but she knew what she had going on. And it was just, she probably just in too deep. I don't know. That's just what I'm going off, because my whole life I ain't been doing nothing but listening to other people's stories and listening. I've been analyzing. I just been sitting back with my mouth closed. You feel what I'm saying? So now that I got a chance to speak, I'm gonna let you know like it was something going on. I don't know if they was already divorced, but But I know that they was broken up for quite a amount of time before she started doing stuff. And when she started to live her life and move on, try to move on, he would try to force his way back in or try to, make it seem like that's all she was supposed to be doing when she already had 3 baby daddies before him. So she was already a boss and she already had her life situated. She was already, she did real estate and all that. Like, she didn't really need him.
Did you tell the authorities all this? Or you were just young at that time?
Didn't nobody give me a chance to talk.
You think you were being protected?
I was most definitely being protected.
Right.
I was being protected from, whatever the world had going on. I was protected. Even how we grew up, we couldn't leave the mailbox. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that was just granny rules. But right now, I'm on medication. I'm on mental health medication, and I'm on that because of what happened to my mom. I'm not saying that it's something mentally wrong with me. It's just my moods kind of switch up and change. And when I'm sad, I'm sad. When I'm depressed, I'm depressed. Feel me? Because a lot of my memories aren't that good with my mom. A lot of my memories aren't that good. It's a lot of stuff that I still want to know right now that people just don't want to talk about. So I kind of, make music. I got the clothing line. My clothing line is called Driven by Doubt. And it's simply called Driven by Doubt for the situation. So everything that I do revolves my mom. It involves my mom. It revolves around her.
Like you say, I don't know, maybe I don't think she did. So
I have not given my daughter over to death because they have not given me any remains to say this is your daughter. But the one thing that I cannot move out of the back of my head is them telling me that they found a blanket in that truck with blood on. That I cannot move that out the back of my head. Even though I have not seen my child is dead. But I will not say that until they give me some remains and things of her remains. I look back at during the time that my daughter came up missing. When it was a month later or 2 weeks later, that the 2 white ladies came up missing and they just exploded about them, but they didn't explode about my child. That it's not just her, they don't give the black women the same that they do for the white women as far as looking for them when they're missing. We did searches. They never came out to help with the searches. Only one time that we had Fulton County Sheriff Department to come out and help us was because of my son worked for the Fulton County Sheriff Department, and they came out then to support him. But other than that, the detectives didn't go all out the way I felt like they should have went out. They just didn't do it to make that clear. I'm just in one little spot. I don't know if she's there, here. I don't know if she's dead or alive. And I would like to know one of them. I would love for her to be alive. But I would like to know one of them. You never asked to take that I had. To talk Detective Floyd. He asked me not to keep calling you. Well, if we hear something, we'll call you. And I said, I'm going to call you whether you answer or not. I'm going to call you. And a lot of times I call, he didn't answer. They know they did not do enough. To me, they didn't. It's like, it's just another person that's listening to them.
You are strong and been strong. How have you been able to do that?
The grace of God. If it was not for the grace of God, but it was God that carried me through this mentally
God that carried me through his own strength. And it was the Holy Spirit guiding me to what to do for these kids. So that's what that sums it all up. It was the grace of God. My belief in God is what's giving me the strength to hold on and to do what I needed to do. And it wasn't just me taking care of them. It was me, my husband, my son that's living, my son that's deceased, and her. It was the 5 of us. It was the 4 of us that made sure the 5 of them had what they need. But it was the 5 of us that made sure the other 4 had what they needed. Did they parents reach out to me, the other ones? His parent was like a father to all of them. But the twins, people, no. Her daddy was there, but he wasn't there. I put it like that. He was there, but he wasn't there. But it was his fault. That was like a father to all of them and to help make sure that we had what we needed for them as well. Me and my husband. I was determined that they were going to all be under one roof, raised together. Because every Sunday, my daughter made sure they were in my house at dinner time. We all shared dinner. Every Christmas, they were at my house because that's what she wanted them to wake up at Christmas Day. Every holiday, her and these kids were at my house. So me and my husband made sure they were going to all be up under one roof, raised together. He was not going to be at his father. She was not going to be at hers. And the twins wasn't going to be at that. They were going to be at our house. And we went to Clayton County Courthouse and legally adopted all 5 of my grandkids. So it was the grace of God that made sure that we had what we needed to take care of them.
I try to do the music and try to keep her name in almost every song, or keep, people, because I cut hair too. So at my barbershop, I still got the missing woman report still up. So all my clients, I let them know, I talk to them, let them know. My grandmama had to do a lot of stuff alone. Like she said, my dad helped here and there, but it was really my grandmama,
Is there any last things that y'all want to add?
Just if she's listening, if she's still alive, I just want her to come home, and I want her to know that we still pushing for her, and I want to thank you for doing this, because this is fall right into line with what we was already doing, and, we just going to stay positive. We're going to stay positive. We're going to keep pushing.